Enoch's Book of the Watchers full audiobook. The words of the blessing of Enoch. The words of the blessing with which Enoch blessed the righteous chosen who will be present on the day of tribulation, to remove all the enemies, and the righteous will be saved. And he took up his discourse and said, Enoch, a righteous man whose eyes were opened by God, who had the vision of the Holy One and of heaven, which he showed me. From the words of the watchers and holy ones, I heard everything, and as I heard everything from them, I also understood what I saw. Not for this generation do I expound, but concerning one that is distant I speak. And concerning the chosen I speak now, and concerning them I take up my discourse. The great Holy One will come forth from his dwelling, and the eternal God will tread from thence upon Mount Sinai. He will appear with his army, he will appear with his mighty host from the heaven of heavens. All the watchers will fear, and those who are hiding in all the ends of the earth will sing. All the ends of the earth will be shaken, and trembling and great fear will seize them, the watchers, unto the ends of the earth. The high mountains will be shaken and fall and break apart, and the high hills will be made low and melt like wax before the fire. The earth will be wholly rent asunder, and everything on the earth will perish, and there will be a judgment on all. With the righteous he will make peace, and over the chosen there will be protection, and upon them will be mercy. They will all be God's, and he will grant them his good pleasure. He will bless them all, and he will help them all. Light will shine upon them, and he will make peace with them. Look, he comes with the myriads of his holy ones, to execute judgment on all, and to destroy all the wicked, and to convict all humanity for all the wicked deeds that they have done, and the proud and hard words that wicked sinners spoke against him. Contemplate all his works, and observe the works of heaven, how they do not alter their paths, and the luminaries of heaven, that they all rise and set, each one ordered in its appointed time, and they appear on their feasts, and do not transgress their own appointed order. Observe the earth, and contemplate the works that take place on it from the beginning until the consummation, that nothing on earth changes, but all the works of God are manifest to you. Observe the signs of summer and winter. Contemplate the signs of winter, that all the earth is filled with water, and clouds and dew and rain rest upon it. Contemplate and observe how all the trees appear withered, and how all their leaves are stripped, except 14 trees that are not stripped, which remain with the old until the new comes after 2 or 3 years. Observe the signs of summer, whereby the sun burns and scorches, and you seek shelter and shade from its presence, and the earth burns with scorching heat, and you are unable to tread on the dust or the rock because of the burning. Contemplate all the trees. Their leaves blossom green on them, and they cover the trees, and all their fruit is for glorious honor. Contemplate all these works, and understand that he who lives for all the ages made all these works. And his works take place from year to year, and they all carry out their works for him, and their works do not alter, but they all carry out his word. Observe how, in like manner, the sea and the rivers carry out and do not alter their works from his words. But you have not stood firm, nor acted according to his commandments. But you have turned aside. You have spoken proud and hard words with your unclean mouth against his majesty. Hard of heart, there will be no peace for you. Then you will curse your days, and the years of your life will perish, and the years of your destruction will increase in an eternal curse, and there will be no mercy or peace for you. Then you will leave your names as an eternal curse for all the righteous, and by you all who curse will curse, and all the sinners and wicked will swear by you. But all the will rejoice, and for them there will be forgiveness of sins, and all mercy and peace and clemency. For them there will be salvation, a good light, and they will inherit the earth. But for all you sinners there will be no salvation, but on all of you a curse will abide. For the chosen there will be light and joy and peace, and they will inherit the earth. But for you wicked there will be a curse. Then wisdom will be given to all the chosen, and they will all live, and they will sin no more through godlessness or pride. In the enlightened man there will be light, and in the wise man understanding. And they will transgress no more, nor will they sin all the days of their life, nor will they die in the heat of God's wrath. But the number of days of their life they will complete, and their life will grow in peace. And the years of their joy will increase in rejoicing and eternal peace, all the days of their life. The rebellion of the Watchers. When the sons of men had multiplied, in those days beautiful and comely daughters were born to them. And the Watchers, the sons of heaven, saw them and desired them. And they said to one another, Come, let us choose for ourselves wives from the daughters of men, and let us beget children for ourselves. And Shemi-Hazah, their chief, said to them, I fear that you will not want to do this deed, and I alone shall be guilty of a great sin. And they all answered him and said, Let us all swear an oath, and let us all bind one another with a curse, that none of us turn back from this counsel until we fulfill it and do this deed. Then they all swore together and bound one another with a curse. And they were, all of them, 200, who descended in the days of Jared onto the peak of Mount Hermon. And they called the mountain Hermon, because they swore and bound one another with a curse on it. And these are the names of their chiefs. Shemi-Hazah, this one was their leader. Artakoff, second to him. Remeshel, third to him. Kokabel, fourth to him. Armumahel, fifth to him. Ramel, sixth to him. Daniel, seventh to him. Zikal, eighth to him. Barakel, ninth to him. Asael, 10th to him. Hermani, 11th to him. Matarel, 12th to him. Ananel, 13th to him. Setuel, 14th to him. Samshiel, 15th to him. Sariel, 16th to him. Tumiel, 17th to him. Turiel, 18th to him. Yamiel, 19th to him. Yahadiel, 20th to him. These are their chiefs of tens. These and all the others with them took for themselves wives from among them, such as they chose. And they began to go into them, and to defile themselves through them, and to teach them sorcery and charms, and to reveal to them the cutting of roots and plants. And they conceived from them, and bore to them great giants. And the giants begot Nephilim, and to the Nephilim were born Eliud. And they were growing in accordance with their greatness. They were devouring the labor of all the sons of men, and men were not able to supply them. And the giants began to kill men and devour them. And they began to sin against the birds and beasts and creeping things and the fish, and to devour one another's flesh. And they drank the blood. Then the earth brought accusations against the lawless ones. Asael taught men to make swords of iron and weapons and shields and breastplates and every instrument of war. He showed them metals of the earth and how they should work gold to fashion it suitably, and concerning silver to fashion it for bracelets and ornaments for women. And he showed them concerning antimony and eye paint and all manner of precious stones and dyes. And the sons of men made them for themselves and for their daughters, and they transgressed and led the holy ones astray. And there was much godlessness on the earth, and they made their ways desolate. Shemi-Hazah taught spells and the cutting of roots. Hermani taught sorcery for the loosing of spells and magic and skill. Barakel taught the signs of lightning flashes. Kokabel taught the signs of the stars. Zikal taught the signs of the shooting stars. Artakoff taught the signs of the earth. Shamziel taught the signs of the sun. Sariel taught the signs of the moon. And they all began to reveal mysteries to their wives and to their children. And as men were perishing, the cry went up to heaven. Then Michael and Sariel and Raphael and Gabriel looked down from the sanctuary of heaven upon the earth, and saw much bloodshed on the earth. All the earth was filled with the godlessness and violence that had befallen it. And entering in, they said to one another, The earth, devoid of inhabitants, raises the voice of their cries to the gates of heaven. And now to us, the holy ones of heaven, the souls of men make a suit, saying, Bring in our judgment to the Most High, and our destruction before the glory of the majesty, before the Lord of all lords in majesty. And approaching, they said to the Lord of the ages, You are the God of gods, and Lord of lords, and King of kings, and God of the ages, and the throne of your glory exists for every generation of the generations that are from of old, and your name is holy and great and blessed for all the ages. For you have made all things and have authority over all, and all things are manifest and uncovered before you, and you see all things, and there is nothing that can be hidden from you. You see what Asael has done, who has taught all iniquity on the earth, and has revealed the eternal mysteries that are in heaven, which the sons of men were striving to learn. And what Shemi-Hazah has done to whom you gave authority to rule over them who are with him. They have gone into the daughters of the men of earth, and they have lain with them, and have defiled themselves with the women. And they have revealed to them all sins, and have taught them to make hate-inducing charms. And now look, the daughters of men have borne sons from them, giants, half-breeds. And the blood of men is shed on the earth, and the whole earth is filled with iniquity. And now look, the spirits of the souls of the men who have died make a suit, and their groan has come up to the gates of heaven, and it does not cease to come forth from the presence of the iniquities that have come upon the earth. You know all things before they happen, and you see these things and you permit them, and you do not tell us what we ought to do to them with regard to these things. Then the Most High declared, and the Great Holy One spoke. And he sent Sariel to the son of Lamech, saying, Go to Noah and say to him in my name, Hide yourself. And reveal to him that the end is coming, that the whole earth will perish, and tell him that a deluge is about to come on the whole earth and destroy everything on the earth. Teach the righteous one what he should do, the son of Lamech how he may preserve himself alive and escape forever. From him a plant will be planted, and his seed will endure for all the generations of eternity. To Raphael he said, Go, Raphael, and bind Asael hand and foot, and cast him into the darkness, and make an opening in the wilderness that is in Dowdale. Throw him there, and lay beneath him sharp and jagged stones, and cover him with darkness, and let him dwell there for an exceedingly long time. Cover up his face, and let him not see the light. And on the day of the great judgment he will be led away to the burning conflagration, and heal the earth, which the watchers have desolated, and announce the healing of the earth, that the plague may be healed, and all the sons of men may not perish because of the mystery that the watchers told and taught their sons. And all the earth was made desolate by the deeds of the teaching of Asael, and over him write all the sins. And to Gabriel he said, Go, Gabriel, to the bastards, to the half-breeds, to the sons of miscegenation, and destroy the sons of the watchers from among the sons of men. Send them against one another in a war of destruction. Length of days they will not have, and no petition will be granted to their fathers in their behalf, that they should expect to live an everlasting life, nor even that each of them should live 500 years. And to Michael he said, Go, Michael, bind Shemihaza and the others with him, who have mated with the daughters of men, so that they were defiled by them in their uncleanness. And when their sons perish, and they see the destruction of their beloved ones, bind them for 70 generations in the valleys of the earth, until the day of their judgment and consummation, until the everlasting judgment is consummated. Then they will be led away to the fiery abyss, and to the torture, and to the prison where they will be confined forever. And everyone who is condemned and destroyed henceforth will be bound together with them until the consummation of their generation. And at the time of the judgment which I shall judge, they will perish for all generations. Destroy all the spirits of the half-breeds and the sons of the watchers, because they have wronged men. Destroy all perversity from the face of the earth, and let every wicked deed be gone, and let the plant of righteousness and truth appear, and it will become a blessing, and the deeds of righteousness and truth will be planted forever with joy. And now all the righteous will escape, and they will live until they beget thousands, and all the days of their youth and their old age will be completed in peace. Then all the earth will be tilled in righteousness, and all of it will be planted with trees and filled with blessing, and all the trees of joy will be planted on it. They will plant vines on it, and every vine that will be planted on it will yield 1,000 jugs of wine, and of every seed that is sown on it, each measure will yield 1,000 measures, and each measure of olives will yield 10 baths of oil. Cleanse the earth from all impurity, and from all wrong, and from all lawlessness, and from all sin, and godlessness, and all impurities that have come upon the earth, remove. And all the sons of men will become righteous, and all the peoples will worship me, and all will bless me and prostrate themselves. And all the earth will be cleansed from all defilement and from all uncleanness, and I shall not again send upon them any wrath or scourge for all the generations of eternity. Then I shall open the storehouses of blessing that are in heaven, and make them descend upon the earth, upon the works and the labor of the sons of men. And then truth and peace will be united together for all the days of eternity and for all the generations of humanity. Before these things Enoch was taken, and no human being knew where he had been taken, or where he was, or what had happened to him. His works were with the watchers, and with the holy ones were his days. I, Enoch, was standing, blessing the Lord of majesty, the King of the ages. And look, the watchers of the great Holy One called me, Enoch the scribe, and said to me, Enoch, righteous scribe, go and say to the watchers of heaven, who forsook the highest heaven, the sanctuary of the eternal station, and defiled themselves with women. As the sons of the earth do, so they did, and took wives for themselves. And they worked great desolation on the earth. You will have no peace or forgiveness. And concerning their sons, in whom they rejoice, the slaughter of their beloved ones they will see. And over the destruction of their sons they will lament and make the perpetual petition, and they will have no mercy or peace. And Enoch, go and say to Asal, you will have no peace. A great sentence has gone forth against you to bind you. You will have no relief or petition because of the unrighteous deeds that you revealed, and because of all the godless deeds and the unrighteousness and the sin that you revealed to humans. Then I went and spoke to all of them together, and they were all afraid, and trembling and fear seized them. And they asked that I write a memorandum of petition for them, that they might have forgiveness, and that I recite the memorandum of petition for them in the presence of the Lord of heaven. For they were no longer able to speak or to lift their eyes to heaven out of shame for the deeds through which they had sinned and for which they had been condemned. Then I wrote out the memorandum of their petition and the requests concerning themselves with regard to their deeds individually, and concerning their sons for whom they were making requests, that they might have forgiveness and longevity. And I went off and sat by the waters of Dan in the land of Dan, which is south of Hermon to the west. I recited to God the memorandum of their petition until I fell asleep. And look, dreams came upon me, and visions fell upon me, and I saw visions of wrath, and there came a voice, saying, Speak to the sons of heaven to reprimand them. And when I had awakened, I went to them. And all of them were assembled together, and they were sitting and weeping at Abel Main, which is between Lebanon and Senir, covering their faces. And I recited in their presence all the visions that I had seen in the dream, and I began to speak the words of truth and the vision and reprimand to the watchers of heaven. The book of the words of truth and the reprimand of the watchers who were from of old, according to the command of the great Holy One in the dream that I dreamed. In this vision I saw in my dream what I now speak with a human tongue, and with the breath of my mouth, which the Great One has given to humans, to speak with them and to understand with the heart. As he created and destined humans to understand the words of knowledge, so he created and destined me to reprimand the watchers, the sons of heaven. I wrote up your petition, and in the vision it was shown to me thus, that you will not obtain your petition for all the days of eternity. But judgment has been consummated in the decree against you, that from now on you will not ascend into heaven for all the ages. And it has been decreed to bind you in bonds in the earth for all the days of eternity. And that before these things you will see the destruction of your sons, your beloved ones, and that you will have no pleasure in them, but they will fall before you by the sword. Accordingly, you will not obtain your petition concerning them, nor concerning yourselves. You will be petitioning and making supplication, but you will not be speaking any word from the writing that I have written. Enoch's Ascent and Vision. In the vision it was shown to me thus, Look, clouds in the vision were summoning me, and mists were crying out to me, and shooting stars and lightning flashes were hastening me and speeding me along, and winds in my vision made me fly up and lifted me upward and brought me to heaven. And I went in until I drew near to a wall built of hailstones, and tongues of fire were encircling them all around, and they began to frighten me. And I went into the tongues of fire, and I drew near to a great house built of hailstones, and the walls of this house were like stone slabs, and they were all of the snow, and the floor was of snow. And the ceiling was like shooting stars and lightning flashes, and among them were fiery cherubim, and their heaven was water, and a flaming fire encircled all their walls, and the doors blazed with fire. And I went into that house, hot as fire and cold as snow, and no delight of life was in it. Fear enveloped me, and trembling seized me, and I was quaking and trembling, and I fell upon my face. And I saw in my vision, and look, another open door before me, and a house greater than the former one, and it was all built of tongues of fire. All of it so excelled in glory and splendor and majesty that I am unable to describe for you its glory and majesty. Its floor was of fire, and its upper part was flashes of lightning and shooting stars, and its ceiling was a flaming fire. And I was looking, and I saw a lofty throne, and its appearance was like ice, and its wheels were like the shining sun, and the voice or sound of the cherubim, and from beneath the throne issued rivers of flaming fire, and I was unable to see. The great glory sat upon it. His apparel was like the appearance of the sun and whiter than much snow. No angel could enter into this house and look at his face because of the splendor and glory, and no human could look at him. Flaming fire encircled him, and a great fire stood by him, and none of those about him approached him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him, but he needed no counselor. His every word was deed. And the holy ones of the watchers who approached him did not depart by night, nor by day did they leave him. The Oracle. Until now I had been on my face, prostrate and trembling. And the Lord called me with his mouth and said to me, "Come here, Enoch, and hear my word." And one of the holy ones came to me and raised me up and stood me on my feet and brought me up to the door. But I had my face bowed down. But he answered and said to me, and I heard his voice, "Fear not, Enoch, righteous man and scribe of truth. Come here and hear my voice. Go and say to the watchers of heaven who sent you to petition on their behalf, you should petition on behalf of humans, and not humans on behalf of you. Why have you forsaken the high heaven, the eternal sanctuary, and lain with women, and defiled yourselves with the daughters of men, and taken for yourselves wives, and done as the sons of earth, and begotten for yourselves sons, giants? You were holy ones and spirits living forever. With the blood of women you have defiled yourselves, and with the blood of flesh you have begotten, and with the blood of men you have lusted, and you have done as they do, flesh and blood who die and perish. Therefore I gave them women, that they might cast seed into them, and thus beget children by them, that nothing fail them on the earth. But you originally existed as spirits living forever, and not dying for all the generations of eternity. Therefore I did not make women among you. The spirits of heaven in heaven is their dwelling. But now the giants who were begotten by the spirits and flesh, they will call them evil spirits on the earth, for their dwelling will be on the earth. The spirits that have gone forth from the body of their flesh are evil spirits, for from humans they came into being, and from the holy watchers was the origin of their creation. Evil spirits they will be on the earth, and evil spirits they will be called. The spirits of heaven in heaven is their dwelling. But the spirits begotten on the earth is their dwelling. And the spirits of the giants lead astray, do violence, make desolate, and attack and wrestle and hurl upon the earth and cause illnesses. They eat nothing but abstain from food and are thirsty and smite. These spirits will rise up against the sons of men and against the women, for they have come forth from them. From the day of the slaughter and destruction and death of the giants, from the soul of whose flesh the spirits are proceeding, they are making desolate without incurring judgment. Thus they will make desolate until the day of the consummation of the great judgment, when the great age will be consummated. It will be consummated all at once. And now say to the watchers who sent you to petition on their behalf, who formerly were in heaven, you were in heaven, and no mystery was revealed to you. But a stolen mystery you learned, and this you made known to the women in your hardness of heart. And through this mystery, the women and men are multiplying evils on the earth. Say to them, you will have no peace. Enoch's journey to the northwest. And they took me and led me away to a certain place in which those who were there were like a flaming fire. And whenever they wished, they appeared as human beings. And they led me away to a dark place and to a mountain whose summit reached heaven. And I saw the place of the luminaries and the treasuries of the stars and of the thunders, and to the depths of the ether, where the bow of fire and the arrows and their quivers were, and the sword of fire and all the lightning. And they led me away to the living waters and to the fire of the west, which provides all the sunsets. And I came to the river of fire, in which fire flows down like water and discharges into the great sea of the west. I saw all the great rivers, and I arrived at the great river and the great darkness. And I departed for where no human walks. I saw the wintry winds of darkness and the gushing of all the waters of the abyss. I saw the mouth of all the rivers of the earth and the mouth of the abyss. I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how through them he ordered all created things. I saw the foundation of the earth and the cornerstone of the earth. I saw the four winds bearing the earth and the firmament of heaven. And I saw how the winds stretch out the height of heaven. They stand between earth and heaven. They are the pillars of heaven. I saw the winds of heaven that turn and bring to their setting the disk of the sun and all the stars. I saw the winds on the earth bearing the clouds. I saw the paths of the angels. I saw at the ends of the earth the firmament of heaven above. I came and saw a place that was burning night and day, where there were 7 mountains of precious stones, 3 lying to the east and 3 to the south. And of those to the east, 1 was of colored stone, and 1 was of pearl, and 1 was of jasper. And those to the south were of flame-colored stone, and the middle one of them reached heaven like the throne of God, of antimony, and the top of the throne was of lapis lazuli. And I saw a burning fire. And beyond these mountains is a place, the edge of the great earth. There the heavens come to an end. And I saw a great chasm among pillars of heavenly fire. And I saw in it pillars of fire descending, and they were immeasurable toward the depth and toward the height. And Uriel said to me, There stand the angels who mingled with the women, and their spirits, having assumed many forms, bring destruction on men, and lead them astray to sacrifice to demons as to gods until the day of the great judgment, in which they will be judged with finality. And the wives of the transgressing angels will become sirens. Beyond this chasm I saw a place where there was neither firmament of heaven above, nor firmly founded earth beneath it. Neither was there water on it, nor bird, but the place was desolate and fearful. There I saw 7 stars like great burning mountains. To me, when I inquired about them, the angel said, This place is the end of heaven and earth. This has become a prison for the stars and the hosts of heaven. The stars that are rolling over in the fire, these are they that transgressed the command of the Lord at the beginning of their rising, for they did not come out in their appointed times. And he was angry with them and bound them until the time of the consummation of their sins, 10,000 years. I, Enoch, alone saw the visions, the extremities of all things, and no one among humans has seen as I saw. Enoch's journey eastward. List of the 7 archangels. These are the names of the holy angels who watch. Uriel, one of the holy angels, who is in charge of the world and Tartarus. Raphael, one of the holy angels, who is in charge of the spirits of men. Reuel, one of the holy angels, who takes vengeance on the world of the luminaries. Michael, one of the holy angels, who has been put in charge of the good ones of the people. Sariel, one of the holy angels, who is in charge of the spirits who sin against the spirit. Gabriel, one of the holy angels, who is in charge of paradise and the serpents and the cherubim. Remiel, one of the holy angels, whom God has put in charge of them that rise. The names of the 7 archangels, the place of punishment for the disobedient stars. I traveled to where it was chaotic, and there I saw a terrible thing. I saw neither heaven above nor firmly founded earth, but a chaotic and terrible place. And there I saw 7 of the stars of heaven, bound and thrown in it together, like great mountains and burning in fire. Then I said, For what reason have they been bound? And for what reason have they been thrown here? Then Uriel said to me, one of the holy angels who was with me, and he was their leader, he said to me, Enoch, why do you inquire, and why are you eager for the truth? These are the stars of heaven that transgressed the command of the Lord. They have been bound here until 10,000 years are fulfilled, the time of their sins. The prison of the fallen angels. From there I traveled to another place, more terrible than this one, and I saw terrible things, a great fire burning and flaming there. And the place had a narrow cleft extending to the abyss, full of great pillars of fire borne downward. Neither the measure nor the size was I able to see or to estimate. Then I said, How terrible is this place and fearful to look at. Then Uriel answered me, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said to me, "Enoch, why are you so frightened and shaken?" And I replied, "Because of this terrible place, and because of the fearful sight." And he said, "This place is a prison for the angels. Here they will be confined forever." The mountain of the dead. From there I traveled to another place, and he showed me to the west a great and high mountain of hard rock. And there were 4 hollow places in it, deep and very smooth. 3 of them were dark, and 1 was illuminated, and a fountain of water was in the middle of it. And I said, "How smooth are these hollows and altogether deep and dark to view." Then Raphael answered me, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said to me, "These hollow places are intended that the spirits of the souls of the dead might be gathered into them. For this very purpose they were created, and here the souls of all human beings should be gathered. And look, these are the pits for the place of their confinement. Thus they were made until the day on which they will be judged, and until the time of the day of the end of the great judgment that will be exacted from them." There I saw the spirit of a dead man making suit, and his lamentation went up to heaven and cried and made suit. Then I asked Raphael, the watcher and holy one who was with me, and said to him, "This spirit that makes suit, whose is it, that thus his lamentation goes up and makes suit unto heaven?" And he answered me and said, "This is the spirit that went forth from Abel, whom Cain his brother murdered. And Abel makes an accusation against him until his posterity perishes from the face of the earth, and his posterity is obliterated from the posterity of men." Then I asked about all the hollow places and why they were separated one from the other. And he answered me and said, "These 3 were made that the spirits of the dead might be separated, and this has been separated for the spirits of the righteous, where the bright fountain of water is. And this has been created for the spirits of the sinners when they die and are buried in the earth, and judgment has not been executed on them in their life. Here their spirits are separated for this great torment, until the great day of judgment, of scourges and tortures of the cursed forever, that there might be a recompense for their spirits. There he will bind them forever. And this has been separated for the spirits of them that make a suit, who make a disclosure about the destruction when they were murdered in the days of the sinners. And this was created for the spirits of the people who will not be pious but sinners, who were godless, and they were companions with the lawless. And their spirits will not be punished on the day of judgment, nor will they be raised from there. The fire of the west, and from there I traveled to another place, to the west of the ends of the earth. And I saw a fire that ran and did not rest or quit its course day and night, but continued. And I asked and said, "What is this that has no rest?" Then Royal answered me, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said to me, "This course of fire is the fire of the west, which pursues all the luminaries of heaven." And he showed me mountains of fire that burned day and night, the mountain of God and the tree of life. And I proceeded beyond them, and I saw 7 glorious mountains, all differing each from the other, whose stones were precious in beauty. And all the mountains were precious and glorious and beautiful in appearance. 3 to the east were firmly set one on the other, and 3 to the south, one on the other, and deep and rugged ravines, one not approaching the other. The 7th mountain was in the middle of these, and it rose above them in height, like the seat of a throne, and fragrant trees encircled it. Among them was a tree such as I had never smelled, and among them was no other like it. It had a fragrance sweeter smelling than all spices, and its leaves and its blossom and the tree never wither. Its fruit is beautiful, like the dates of the palm trees. Then I said, "How beautiful is this tree and fragrant! Its leaves are lovely, and its blossoms are lovely to look at." Then Michael answered me, one of the holy angels who was with me and was their leader. And he said to me, "Enoch, why do you inquire, and why do you marvel about the fragrance of this tree? And why do you wish to learn the truth?" Then I answered him, I, Enoch, and said, "Concerning all things I wish to know, but especially concerning this tree." And he answered me and said, "This high mountain that you saw, whose peak is like the throne of God, is the seat where the great Holy One, the Lord of glory, the King of eternity, will sit when he descends to visit the earth in goodness. And as for this fragrant tree, no flesh has the right to touch it until the great judgment, in which there will be vengeance on all and a consummation forever. Then it will be given to the righteous and the pious, and its fruit will be food for the chosen. And it will be transplanted to the holy place, by the house of God, the King of eternity. Then they will rejoice greatly and be glad, and they will enter into the sanctuary. Its fragrances will be in their bones, and they will live a long life on the earth, such as your fathers lived also in their days, and torments and plagues and suffering will not touch them. Then I blessed the God of glory, the King of eternity, who has prepared such things for people who are righteous, and has created them, and promised to give them to them. Jerusalem, the center of the earth, and the place of punishment. And from there I proceeded to the center of the earth, and I saw a blessed place where there were trees that had branches that abide and sprout. And there I saw a holy mountain. From beneath the mountain water came from the east, and it flowed toward the south. And I saw to the east another mountain higher than it, and between them a deep valley that had no breadth. And through it the water was flowing beneath the mountain. And to the west of this, another mountain lower than it, and not rising very high, and a deep and dry valley beneath it between them, and another deep and dry valley at the apex of the 3 mountains. And all the valleys were deep, of hard rock, and no tree was planted on them. And I marveled at the mountain, and I marveled at the valley. I marveled exceedingly. Then I said, Why is this land blessed and all filled with trees, but this valley is cursed? Then Sariel answered, one of the holy angels who was with me, and said to me, This cursed valley is for those who are cursed forever. Here will be gathered all the cursed, who utter with their mouth an improper word against the Lord, and speak hard things against his glory. Here they will be gathered, and here will be their habitation at the last times, in the days of righteous judgment, in the presence of the righteous for all time. Here the godless will bless the Lord of glory, the King of eternity. In the days of their judgment, they will bless in mercy in accordance with how he has apportioned to them. Then I blessed the Lord of glory, and his glory I made known and praised magnificently. To the paradise of righteousness. And from there I went to the midst of the mountain range of the desert, and I saw it desolate, and it alone was full of trees and plants. Water was pouring forth from above. Flowing like a copious watercourse approximately to the northwest, it brought water and also dew from all around. From there I went to another place in the desert, and I departed to the east of this mountain range. I saw trees of the field breathing fragrances of frankincense and myrrh, and their trees were like nut trees. Beyond these I departed far to the east, and I saw another vast place, valleys of water, in which were aromatic cane-like reeds. On the banks of these valleys I saw the fragrant cinnamon. Beyond these valleys I departed to the east, and I saw other mountains, and also on them I saw trees, from which flowed the nectar called storax and galbanum. Beyond these mountains I was shown another mountain, and on it were aloe trees. All the trees were full of, and it was like the bark of the almond tree. When they grind this bark, it is sweeter than any perfume. Beyond these mountains, approximately to their northeastern side, I saw other mountains, filled with choice nard and cardamom and pepper. From there I proceeded to the east of all these mountains, far from them to the east of the earth. And I passed over the Red Sea and departed far from it. And I crossed over the darkness, far from it. I passed by the paradise of righteousness, and I saw from afar trees more plentiful and larger than these trees, differing from those, very large and beautiful and glorious and magnificent, and the tree of wisdom, whose fruit the holy ones eat and learn great wisdom. That tree is in height like the fir, and its leaves like those of the carob, and its fruit like the clusters of the vine, very cheerful, and its fragrance penetrates far beyond the tree. Then I said, How beautiful is the tree, and how pleasing in appearance. Then Gabriel, the holy angel who was with me, answered, This is the tree of wisdom from which your father of old and your mother of old, who were before you, ate and learned wisdom. And their eyes were opened, and they knew that they were naked, and they were driven from the garden. To the ends of the earth. And from there I proceeded to the ends of the earth, and I saw there great beasts, and they differed each from the other, and birds also, differing in their appearance and their beauty and their voices, differed each from the other. To the east of these beasts I saw the ends of the earth, on which the heaven rests, and the gates of heaven open. I saw how the stars of heaven come forth, and I counted the gates from which they emerge, and I wrote down all their outlets one by one, according to their number and their names, according to their conjunction and their position and their time and their months, as Uriel, the holy angel who was with me, showed me. He showed me and wrote down for me everything, and also he wrote down their names and their appointed times and their functions. Enoch's journeys north, west, south, and east, a summary. And from there I proceeded to the north at the ends of the earth, and there I saw great and glorious wonders at the ends of the whole earth. There I saw 3 gates of heaven open in heaven. From them the winds in the north emerge. When they blow, there is cold and hail and hoarfrost and snow and dew and rain. Through one gate they blow for good, and when they blow through 2 of the gates, they blow with violence, and there is affliction on the earth. From there I proceeded toward the west, at the ends of the earth, and I saw there 3 gates of heaven open, as I saw in the east, the same number of gates and the same number of outlets. From there I proceeded toward the south, at the ends of the earth, and there I saw 3 gates of heaven open, and from there the south wind and dew and rain emerge. From there I proceeded toward the east, at the ends of the earth, and there I saw 3 gates of heaven open toward the east, and above them, small gates. Through each of these small gates pass the stars of heaven, and they proceed westward on the path that is shown them. And when I saw, I blessed, and I shall always bless, the Lord of glory, who has wrought great and glorious wonders, to show his great deeds to his angels, and to the spirits of human beings, so that they might see the work of his might, and glorify the deeds of his hands, and bless him forever.